All right. Now, going off of a post I made yesterday, I didn't think too much of it in terms of what the response would be because I thought that, looking at Zach in his past and the changes he's made throughout the series, that, it's interesting because in Zatima, we learn about the fact that, I think we've always known he's come from a broken family. Towards the end of season one, when he was talking with Miss Lisa, we know that his dad wasn't there for him and, things of that nature. But my post was simply Karen's mom and Fatima's, I want to say dad. I know it's stepdad, but dad are like the parents Zach never had. And on Twitter, I like the responses here. Some people, just left tweets. Others did like video responses. I need to do a live stream at some point or Twitter spaces. This has been too long. But essentially, there was a kind of a, hey, you know what, Jeremy, we see what you mean on Henry's side of things, but then on the Miss Lisa side, not so much. But the thing is, I made a point to say, you know what, season one, Lisa, I think it was at the end of episode 23. That's the one where she stops by Danny's apartment to have a talk with Zach. And some people are like, okay, well, Jeremy, yeah, I see what you mean there. That was Miss Lisa having a sit down with Zach. But yeah, it was about him being a better person, a better man in general. But it felt more so like having him be a better man for her daughter as opposed to Henry, who was, helping point Zach in the right direction, but really to not screw up things with his daughter. It's an interesting argument to say the least, but at the same time, at the core, I think you can't forget Miss Lisa was playing a pivotal role in helping Zach reach the success that he did today. Now, look, I know that she didn't directly do it, but here's the thing. If I remember his name correctly, Miss Lisa's boyfriend at the time was named Chris, and she introduced Zach to Chris to talk about chain breakers. Then Zach went to that first meeting, and he didn't want to sign the paperwork. This is when Fatima hit him on the bike with her car. Basically, that's when, they first met, and even though Zach didn't want to sign, she literally forced him to do so, and then that led to him making his first nice chunk of change, which wasn't it like 20 something thousand, 25, $22,000. I forgot the exact amount, but this was his first taste of making legit money that wasn't illegal. And when I say legit money, I mean like a large chunk of money at one time. So from there, he used that money to invest in the stocks because Tony, the senator's wife, gave him the stock tip. Now, that's where he first blew up and got money in the stock market. But here's the thing, though. Even though he was kind of pushed in different directions, like Miss Lisa told him, look, get your shit together. Chris told him about chain breakers. Zach made the choice to go to chain breakers. And if I remember correctly, that was right after this was early season 2. The girls were at Sabrina's apartment. Aaron and Zach both came over there, I believe, because Karen was staying at Sabrina's after the whole situation with Aaron's ex-wife's brother who tried to kill her. And then Zach jumped in to save her and he got stabbed and then she shot the intruder. So basically with all the blood and it being a crime scene, Karen stayed with Sabrina. So, they were bringing her clothes or whatnot. In front of all the girls, Karen chose Aaron over Zach. Zach, being distraught, decided to just go, and then he went to chain breakers, and then from there he met Fatima and this, that, and the third. But I think the most important part of that is to remember that the main reason, actually the reason Zach got his stock information was because he was at work going above and beyond. He was, just going crazy. Even Danny told him to slow down, but no, he was like, no, I gotta get my paper right. So I'm going, I'm working hard. I'm going to get as many tips as possible. And he did his thing. Tony, if I remember correctly, didn't she leave her laptop on the plane? And Zach, he pretty much went full force to get it back. And he actually got the plane delayed just so he can go aboard, get the bag for the customer. And then he rushed it back. And then when he was looking for a tip, she didn't have anything, but did give him the information on that stock. And then, of course, that's how he blew up. So I think that in a situation like this, you have to look at the fact that Zach was the Good Samaritan, and well, he got a blessing for it. But when you look at both conversations between Miss Lisa and Zach, and then Henry and Zach, yeah, I can definitely see people telling him that, or telling me that, you know what, I see what you're saying, Jeremy. And keep in mind, I am not talking about Miss Lisa from season 5 onward. When she came back for the letter reading crap, that was just not in Zach's favor. It definitely seemed like from that point forward, it reinforced the fact that, yeah, the reason Miss Lisa was telling Zach to get his act together was to be the kind of man that Karen wanted him to be goal-oriented, to be successful, to earn a legit living. And then, when Zach was like, well, what if the baby's mine? You're doing well for yourself, right? Yeah. Well, if you're doing well, that means she'll be doing well. And then, of course, the more recent dialogue being, wait a minute. Get the DNA test, Karen, because if you get it, to, just appease him and he requested it, then give him the proof he wants. That way you can get him to help you out with your money issues. That way I don't have to cut you another check anymore. So it's like, yeah, there's definitely the quote unquote gold digging tendencies there. But I think at the core, I look at it from the perspective of Henry being a parent who could see faults, because in both parties, both in Zach and the daughter, as opposed to Miss Lisa, who is definitely only seeing the faults in the men that Karen dates, as opposed to the faults in her own daughter, because she straight up tells Zach, my daughter doesn't lie to me. And I'm like, I don't know about all that, Miss Lisa. Maybe you could say she doesn't lie to you, but she definitely omits information to make it seem like she's the victim and everything. Hence why when Fatima dropped the ball about her calling her out of her name all the time and popping up at their house unexpected, Miss Lisa's like, wait, you're doing that? Yeah, that ought to tell you right there, your daughter isn't as clean cut as you think. But Henry, he pretty much looked at Zach and said, look, I think what adds a air of freshness to Henry's perspective of Zach is that what is he, like a retired judge, right? And from his bench, he saw lots of people like Zach who had checkered past and whatnot. And heck, he was even from the streets at one time himself, if I remember correctly. I know Mona was very similar to Fatima, even though she doesn't want to admit it. And she kind of bougified herself to conform to Henry's world, upper class and finer things in life. But basically, Henry knows what kind of guy Zach really is under the bravado. And basically, look, my daughter is out there. She loves you. I could tell. And she's a catch. But at the same time, you don't want to repeat the same mistakes that me and Fatima's mother went through in our courting phase. So basically, my daughter's out there. She's probably about to do something really stupid, aka sleep with another dude, Paul. So go out there, profess your love, and don't mess up. Simple as that. So you could tell that there was a coolness understanding between Zach and Henry, as opposed to, well, look, I get it. Miss Lisa doesn't have the best track record, but the way I look at it, and here's the reason why I say these two were more like parents to Zach than Zach's biological mom and dad. They were the strong, experienced male and female figures that Zach never truly had in his life. Basically, Miss Lisa's, cutthroat, no nonsense, cut the crap, boo-hoo. Black people in general have it hard in America. There's always there's always obstacles stacked against us, but there's always a better way. Rather than the illegal way, there's always a better way. And then from there, you have Henry, who's like, look, I've seen people like you all the time. It's not impossible to, change like one little thing to, influence the course of your entire life. And if you want to have a future with my daughter, you really need to just put the ego aside, stop being self-destructive. Kudos to going to therapy and just do what you can to move forward. So when I look at it from that perspective, yes, I definitely see Miss Lisa being a mother figure. And look, if you go back to, again, season 1, episode 23, I believe like the last 4 to 6 minutes of the episode, that's when Miss Lisa shows up. Yeah, Miss Lisa did come across as someone who definitely wanted to have Zach improve for the sake of her daughter, because it's like, here's my thing though. You could tell by her demeanor and how brief the conversation was, because when she finished saying what she said to get up and leave, Zach was like, is that it? And then she was like, look, what do you mean that's it? What else you want me to do? What else you want me to say? I'm not going to sit here and try to teach a grown man how to be a man. But you could tell that she's had this conversation with Zach numerous times before over the course of the 3-year relationship between him and her daughter. So who's to say that some of the earlier conversations weren't as in depth as Henry's conversation? Yes, I am adding a bit of headcanon fuel to this theory, but you could kind of tell Miss Lisa's like, you know what, Zach, I've told you this, one too many times, but it just seems like for the first time, Karen has a man on the quote unquote level of an Aaron that, Miss Lisa was like, oh, Zach, I'm telling you right now, this Aaron dude, he's going to make a move. And based on, even though I'm not too keen on him myself, he seems to have like the looks, the height, the, finances that my daughter kind of likes. So you better step up your game if you don't want to lose her. So yeah, I could definitely see it where Aaron was a catalyst for helping Zach get his crap together. So like, I got to step my game up to be an Aaron kind of person if I want to win Karen over. But when it comes to Paul, it's like, well, I don't know. He just didn't want to lose to a light-skinned dude again. Huh. Yeah, Zach has a track record of doing that. I don't know. But yeah, I definitely think that Miss Lisa, it's the fact that there was, I hate to sound like Karen, 3 years of history there, but you could tell that Miss Lisa had talks with Zach before, probably kind of saying like, yeah, I mean, did Miss Lisa know about Zach giving her daughter an STD for cheating? I don't know. But yeah, I think at the core, season 1, episode 23, Miss Lisa, and episode 24 and 25, whenever she showed up again with Chris, it was to help Zach get back on track. So yeah, you could argue that the only reason Miss Lisa stepped in was to get Zach to become the better person, the better man for her daughter. Now, could there be some maliciousness in her intent? Like, I don't like this Aaron dude, so Zach, step your game up. That way my daughter doesn't have to be with him. Possibly. You could argue Henry's attempt could definitely be viewed as more genuine, but either way, both parties were looking out for Zach's benefit, while Miss Lisa definitely to benefit her daughter. Both of these older, wiser black people played parental-esque figures in Zach's life that helped him get to where he was today in both series, Miss Lisa and Sistas and Henry and Zatima. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll just have to wait and see how things unfold, especially with Miss Lisa. Oh, I was about to say this week. Sorry, May 29th. When Miss Lisa returns, I'm definitely going to pay attention to see how she interacts with Karen, revealing the whole 2 baby daddy stuff and how she's going to react to the different baby daddies. I don't know. I hope Miss Lisa isn't just like a one and done appearance where she like shows up, finds out the news, what the hell, and then that's it. I want her to kind of pop up every now and then to see, how things line up with these gentlemen. Also, Miss Lisa, don't talk trash to them about, look what you did. No, your daughter did it twice, unprotected. So save some of that, venom for your daughter as opposed to these men, because guess what? At the end of the day, it ain't about trying to fight to see who's going to, have to pay the most child support, because guess what? Zach's fiance is in law school and works at a law firm. And even though Aaron, I hope Aaron isn't portrayed as too much of a simp. I would love to have a bit more backbone from him because, well, your daughter said I wasn't the father. She showed me paperwork and everything. So, yeah, I would love to see Zach and Aaron kind of combine forces to pay as little child support as possible, but at the same time, that's because they're both going to be present in their respective child's lives. So there's that. But with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Which one of these parental figures do you think, or excuse me, which one of these parental figures from Zach's love life played a bigger role? I mean, I'm sorry, Miss Lisa, she definitely did, because if it wasn't for the chain breakers thing, then the whole stock thing wouldn't have happened. Henry, on the other hand, helped guide Zach and Fatima, and to an extent Mona, but I don't count Mona as much because she was definitely more antagonistic, but she came around later in the season when, you know, her husband kind of said, you know what, look, honey, stop acting so damn bougie, and we're going to tell him the truth. All right. So they were able to guide Zach and Fatima. But the thing about it is this, folks. Yes, Miss Lisa definitely came across more so as a person who was trying to help Zach come up for the sake of her daughter. When you look at it from the perspective of Henry and Mona, especially Mona, neither of them called out Fatima. That was one of my main gripes about season 2. It was always Zach who needed to get worked on. Zach who needed to be fixed. Oh, he had issues. Yes, definitely. But I'll never forget what Fatima told Dr. Reed. Was it Dr. Reed? Sorry about this. Season 2 was so long ago. Dr. Reed, I believe. Oh, no. I don't need therapy. He does. He's the problem. It's only him. And it's like, wow. And Fatima, if I'm not mistaken, rarely, if ever, apologized to Zach. It was all about what he needed to do to get better. They need couples therapy. So yeah, that's the one thing. While Miss Lisa's like, my daughter doesn't lie to me and you need to do better for my daughter, it's like, your daughter is kind of cuckoo. And then with Fatima, it's like, yeah, Henry said she's about to do something stupid, but he didn't address that to her straight up because, I don't know, because they asked Zach at that dinner, so the effort, and then Fatima's like, yeah, I kind of see him putting in effort, and Zach's like, yeah, she's putting in effort. The only effort Fatima's putting in is putting up with bullshit, but that's not the same as her changing. But you know what? I'll stop. This is a lengthy video. I didn't mean for it to go this long because guess what? I got to work on that long-ass Zach and Fatima toxic relationship video. So thanks so much for tuning in. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.